Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds, welcome to Ask the Cheeseman, and this is where you can learn about cheese making at home, or ask your questions anyway. It's lovely to see so many people in the chat. There are lots of people, and we've got 56 people on the stream at the moment, so that's lovely to see as well. Just a bit of housekeeping. Big shout out to new YouTube member William White. Thank you, William, for your membership, your ongoing membership. New patrons this week, and they are Bill Hickman, thank you Bill, Sierra, thank you Sierra, Silent Cameo, thank you Silent Cameo, and Nick Sweeting, thank you Nick for your patronage. Those people plus many, many more support the show financially, so thank you so much for that. This week's video, and sorry that we didn't have one last week, we had a bit of a business dilemma that was a good one. Our online store has just been going crazy with orders over the last, 3-4 weeks since everybody's been in lockdown and everybody wants something to do. They've decided to make cheese or soap or candles or bath bombs or whatever we sell in the shop. I've never seen so many things out of stock, and I'm busily, during the week, Ben and I have been packing orders. Kim's been helping out where she can, and I've then, after work's finished, I've been then doing refills to make sure there's stock on our shelves to keep going and shipping stuff out the next day. So that's all good. It's a dilemma that is good to have, I suppose. So anyway, this week's video will be a butter tutorial. So I had some cream and I'm going to make some butter. I made some butter and it was very nice. Some of the batches, I made 4 batches, but I only showed one on screen, and that was a herb and garlic, herb and garlic butter, and that was well salted. One of the other batches that we've been eating recently didn't have enough salt, so it's more like unsalted butter, but the other 2 are okay. Then there'll be a quick, probably in the same week, a behind the scenes video which only goes for about 4 minutes odd. That should be interesting. I did a time lapse of when I made, pardon me, when I made the burrata video failure. So yeah, that was fun. And then, so then obviously there'll be Morbier coming out soon. It's been washed, so it's still in the cheese fridge, so that's good. And there'll be a Gouda video when I can get my hands on some milk with the new Gouda molds that I made. So that's all very cool. Okay, let's say g'day to a few people on the chat. Absolutely fantastic to see you all. We'll start at the top. Ambrose, g'day Ambrose. Manel, lovely to see you, mate. Monique, all the way from Sydney. So far away. Lovely to see you. Co-beer, nice. Got to head out and can't watch live. Sorry, mate, you can watch the replay. Laura, g'day Laura. Gotcha Beach. Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. Jacqueline, g'day Jacqueline. Mike, g'day Mike. Simp Blair, nice. G'day William, Charlie, it's Charlie in Cheshire. Deep South Texas, that's Larry. The Belgian Swede, g'day mate. Vanessa, hello. Rocky, g'day Rocky, lovely to see you. Jeffrey, Patricia, lovely to see you there, Patricia. Been a member for over a year, and thank you so much, Patricia, appreciate it. Scott, g'day Scott. Vanessa, again, all right, let's find somebody else. Christian, Nicola, Jim, g'day Jim. Tamer, g'day Tamer. Kerry, Salam, Kevin, g'day Kevin, generic YouTube user, another Larry from Texas, cool, and who else? Keith and Where else? Jack, Hannah, Jordan, Michael, John. G'day, John. But yep, there we go. And Brug. That'll do. That's we. Oh, who else? Cash. Oh, g'day, Cash. Naomi, Bulant, Chad, Gladys, Mark. There we go. I think I've caught up to the bottom. Very nice. Okay. Let's get on with the questions, shall we? Now, before we start, it's going to be a 1 hour show today. Kim didn't get much sleep last night, so she is moderating today, and thank you, Kim, for taking the effort to moderate the show. So only a 1 hour show today, so if you're expecting a 2 hour, sorry about that. Yeah, but them's the breaks. She is feeling a bit better as far as side effects go this week, so that's a good thing as well. Okay, let's get to some questions. I know there's some up here at the start. All right, Gotcha Beach says, I would really love a cannabis-infused cheese to enjoy, maybe with some wine. Yeah, well, unfortunately, we can't get our hands on it here. It's still illegal in Victoria. So we won't be making cannabis cheese anytime soon, unfortunately. But yeah, good idea. When it does become legal, maybe that'll be one of the first cheeses I make. Anyway, Jacqueline says, hi there, just made my first farmhouse cheddar and have it in a do-it-yourself cheese cave. Humidity has been between 78 and 82, which is good. Temperature is 57.1 to 59. What's that in normal? Let's have a look. What's Siri say? Convert 57.1 Fahrenheit to Celsius.
That would be 13.9 degrees Celsius.
13.9, that's fine. So, yep, all good, Jacqueline. Yes, I can see it's in Fahrenheit, yes. Sim Blair says, g'day Gavin and Kim, love watching your videos. You make it look too easy. A lot of practice goes into that, you know. And a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of repetition, I suppose. So doing it over and over and learning from your mistakes is what makes it look easy. Belgian Swede says, hello Gavin, do you have a favourite Gouda recipe? Love the channel. I have some Cotswold in the cheese fridge ready to eat. Yeah, I do have a favourite Gouda recipe, and it worked out very well and tasted quite authentic, I thought, anyway. It was only matured, I think I matured it for, could have been 6 months? Can't remember, it was a long time ago. But anyway, Kimmy, if you can put the link to the Gouda video up for the Belgian Swede, and they can check that video out there. Vanessa says, hi there, I've also made my first farmhouse cheddar, but it's smaller than the one you made in your video with same amounts of ingredients, and I'm not sure why. Sounds like a lot of the fat, I suppose, and the protein may have been in the way. Maybe a little bit more rennet next time. It depends on, it was, my question to you, because I can ask questions, was the whey really cloudy? If it was really cloudy, that's where the bulk of your, the cheese would have gone, the stuff, you know, if it was smaller. Also, depends on the type of milk. If you used raw milk, then the thing is there are seasonal variations in the lactation of you know, cows, goats, and sheep. Sometimes they produce more milk solids, and other times they don't. I think in the start of the cycle you get more bang for your buck, and at the end of their lactation cycle you get less. So I'm pretty sure that's right. So that could be one of the reasons. Rocky says, hope Kim is feeling better. Yeah, a little bit. Made Limburger cheese, but put it in a maturation box that had camembert in it, and I did not clean it. Bottom line is, I got a great, creamy, not stinky Limburger. That's okay. I'm just thinking back. When I made my Limburger, did I add Geotrichum candidum as well as the Brevibacterium linens. I probably didn't. So yeah, you would have got a little bit of white mold, which is okay. But you could have got rid of that by simply washing it with a Brevibacteria linens infused brine solution, and you could have washed it with that, and that would have made the white go away. It would have been nice, but yeah, not stinky, unfortunate. Jeffrey says, hope you are doing well and the wife is having a speedy recovery. My milk I get locally in the stores is 8 grams of fat or 3.3% based on my maths. Should I be adding 6.7 ounces, which is not my natural currency, by the way. Let me just convert that. Convert 6.7 ounces to grams.
189.94 grams.
Maybe, no. Convert 6.7 ounces to millilitres.
198.14 millilitres.
200 millilitres. Sounds about right. That'll probably get your fat content up to about 5%. So yeah, it's pretty good. We got a super chat then, but I didn't sit at the top. And it, did we? No, we didn't get a super chat. I got a, it says on my feed, $3. The rate. Can you explain the calculation for, hang on, I'll just got to expand something. Can you explain the calculation, how to calculate the ratio for cheese and sodium something? I can't see the full thing. Why won't it let me? Not sure, Manel. I can see it's Manel. That's about all I can see. And it was via PayPal. Yeah, I think it's sodium, the cheese and sodium citrate. Ratio of cheese and sodium citrate. There was a good article I found on the web. It was a blog post. Can't remember where it came from, but what it did was it told of the water to sodium citrate to cheese ratio to make runny American cheese. I think a Google search you'll be able to find it. I found it in a quite quickly, so yeah, try that. Sorry about that, but yeah. Okay, back to the questions. And where is it? Laura was the next question. Laura said, just opened my first 2-month-old Jarlsberg, your recipe, whilst the inside looks great, full of holes and flecks and good texture. The outside of the wheel has stayed wet, pasty, and doesn't smell great. Best way to fix that up, Laura, is to wash it in brine, simple brine solution, and that'll get rid of it's a yeast that builds up on the outside. Happens when you make, any cheese, wild yeast can infect the outside, which is, okay. But yeah, the simple brine solution will get rid of it, and then air dry it, and then it won't be tacky anymore, and it should be fine. And the smell should go away with a bit of air drying as well. Hopefully that helps, Laura. Jeffrey says, cream to my milk batch to get it up to 3.8. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I think 200 mils of cream will probably be okay, which is 6.7 ounces. Patricia says, hello everybody from chilly but sunny Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, where I just made my first tilsit. Her question is, how should ripe tilsit be stored? Wrapped in cheese paper like a brie, perforated roll like a blue, or wax paper like a cheddar? Now, how did I store mine? I did actually put half into vac packing. Now, I don't know if that's the right thing to do, but it seemed to stay intact, and it was okay when I took it out of the vac packing to eat it again. So that could be a possibility, but I have seen in cheese shops when they give you a washed rind cheese, they give it to you in waxed paper. So a bit like when they serve you up a cheddar as the cheesemonger. So try that. I think wax paper will probably be the best bet, but you'd have to eat it pretty quickly because it will dry out fairly quickly. Hopefully that answers your question, Patricia. Scott says hello from Florida. Hello, Scott. Hello, Florida. Vanessa says, hope you and Kim are doing well. Would you consider doing a Persian feta and marinade video? Oh, I've been waiting for somebody to ask me to do that. Yes. The answer is yes. Yes, I will. And I'll try and do a 50% cow and a 50% goat, which is not traditional feta, but it doesn't matter. Marinade. Because Kim and I have been eating the, it's one of our favourite cheeses, is the, what's it called? Meredith Dairy goat's cheese, marinated goat's cheese. Oh, it is to die for. But it is quite, it's not firm, it's quite soft. Soft is the word, yeah. But it tastes absolutely beautiful once it comes out of the marinade. So they've done a good job there. So, but yeah, I'm going to try and do that, and we'll make a Persian feta. Now, funny you should say that. There is a recipe in my book, Keep Calm and Make Cheese, on how to make Persian feta, but I've never got around to doing a video of it. So there you go. Alrighty, lots of hellos, and Salama has a question, says, can I make blue cheese using a piece of blue cheese and vinegar and lemon? Or lemon. Let me have a think about that. Yeah, you probably could. Using the piece of blue cheese, you have to use raw milk. Don't boil it, whatever you do, because it just won't make cheese then. You can add, so let me think, here's a really sneaky form of cheese. If you leave your raw milk on the side, at room temperature with a piece of blue cheese in it, and it's been shaken and mixed up, and the piece of blue cheese is dissolved with blue vein in it, which is your penicillium roqueforti, it will set into what's known as a clabber, and you may need to add a little bit of lemon juice or vinegar, but not too much, to make it coagulate. What you can do then is just drain it, and then drain it so much that it's a little bit firm, and then you can put it into a mould, and then you can let it grow its blue mould all over it. Now, I don't know what it's going to taste like. Hopefully okay, because within raw milk there are the native lactic bacteria, and it should turn into a good cheese. But I would still store it at 13 degrees Celsius during maturation. You probably only need to mature it for 30 days tops. I wouldn't do any more than that. Anyway, Kevin has said, hope you and Kim are doing well. How's Kim coping with COVID-19 being more vulnerable to her diagnosis? I wish Kim could come on camera, because she probably would have a few things to say about that. But yeah, it's it's difficult enough dealing with cancer, well, it's a segue there. All right, we'll come back. We'll come back to the C question. Let's just kill the curd nerd light and go and have a look at the super chat. It's from Nicola. Nicola said, "How's the milk situation over there in Australia? I was finally able to get my hands on good quality milk today, made of canned blue." The milk situation over here is still very good as far as I can tell. If I wanted to get some from my local supplier, Inglenook Dairy, I'd be able to get 10 litres, no problems at all. It's just the amount of orders we're getting in the shop has prohibited me from doing that and making cheese on the weekends, which is my only downtime. So yeah, we can get some, and I don't think there's a restriction on milk in the supermarket. We're getting a home shop, so our shopping delivered to us. Kim orders it once a week, and that's because she's in a a highly vulnerable situation as far as COVID-19 goes. So it kind of leads into the second question. Thank you, Nicola, for your kind 200 check. Oh, don't know what the K stands for. Krona, maybe? I'm not sure. Sorry about that. But yeah, so that plays back into Kevin's question that, we do get our shopping delivered, which is a good thing. Because we had to apply for that to get her to do that. We can't go to the shops because if I get sick, then, sure as eggs around, she's going to get sick. And if she gets sick, she's going to get very, very sick. She is rather vulnerable as far as compromised immunity goes. So, yeah, it is a constant struggle. So we have to sanitize everything and that comes into the house and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, let's hope for a vaccination soon, eh? That would be great. All right. Another question. Laura says, probably more of a statement. Oh no, there's a question there. Laura says, I made blue Gouda, your recipe, but the mould takes over my natural rind cheeses quickly, even after I wash them with brine and vinegar. Am I putting my natural rind cheeses at risk starting up with mould ripened cheese? Anyway, to prevent cross-contamination in such a small area. Hopefully you're using ripening boxes, Laura. And what you can do to kill all the mould in the ripening box, obviously, is to wash the ripening box in a weak bleach solution. So 20 mils of bleach to 2 litres of water, and then wash anything that you think is still contaminated from last time or what have you, and wash that out, including the mat, the lid, all the bits of your ripening boxes, and that way you shouldn't have any contamination for the next cheese. Bit of a problem normally if you don't wash them properly, but hopefully that helps. We've got another super chat there from Jim. G'day, Jim. Jim Jackson says, g'day to the king and queen of the curd herd. Trust all is well down under. I've been enjoying your blog posts over the last few weeks. That would be on littlegreencheese.com, I would presume, blog posts, yeah. But yeah, there's quite a few of those there if you want to go and check them out. Okay, Kevin says, my canned blue is 3 weeks old and has aggressive blue growth. Would covering in micro wrap stop this, or should I scrape it off then wrap it? Trouble with a canned blue is you're trying to grow the white mould over the top, and it should grow more aggressively than what the blue mould does. If it has got aggressive blue, I would wrap it in micro perforated paper as you've suggested. If you don't want it to go too soft in the middle, scrape off the blue first and then wrap it, because if you've got the blue mould on the outside, it continues with proteolysis, so do that. So cool. Hopefully that answers your question, Kevin. Keith says, what's the best resource for figuring out analogues for cultures? Say, when a recipe calls for Sacco, but all you have is access to Danisco Choose-It cultures, for instance. Okay, there's a great resource. I'll just grab it. See if I got it. Where are we? Here it is. And trying to copy the link. Copy. Here we go. Here's a link to a PDF. Paste. There we go. That's the one. I had to think about that then. There's a link to a PDF in the feed, and you will see that it's actually part of Mary Carlin's blog or cheese post, and it actually has equivalents of different types of starter cultures. So go and check that out. Jack says, hey there from the West Coast USA. G'day, Jack. Another question. Thank you for your crim blue. That would be can blue, crim blue. I don't have a crim blue. Trying to find another question. Oh, there we go. There's one. Brug said, finally made better mozzarella with raw cow's milk using your long recipe. Seems a bit tough and rubbery, better than before. What should I do to have it softer but still stretchy? So the problem with cow's milk is that it tends to do that. The super creamy mozzarella obviously is traditionally made with buffalo's milk, which has a higher fat content, about 15%. You would have to put a fair bit of cream in cow's milk, but it just doesn't have the same texture. Maybe use a little bit less rennet, and that would tend to make your cheese a little bit less rubbery, so you could try that with cow's milk. But if you want the traditional to have it soft and stretchy, then buffalo milk is the way to go. If you can get your hands on it, Brug, that's the problem. Okay. What's the... Amras 15. What's the smelliest cheese I ever met? The smelliest cheese. Let me think. Well, I've got the Morbiers in the fridge at the moment. That's pretty smelly. But I would say the brick cheese that I made, that smelt quite on the nose, I would say. Not foul. It wasn't foul. It's a cheese smell. It's just the way it was. Yeah, the brick cheese was fairly smelly when I made that. Tasty, but a bit smelly. Okay. Gary says, hi Gavin from North Carolina. Enjoy your videos. Thank you, Gary. Mark says, what are the results from an underpressed cheese? I followed your Gouda recipe. After 6 weeks of ripening, the wheel is still white and crumbled when I cut into it. Is this from underpressing? Let me think. So the wheel is white because there's probably less beta carotene in the milk. The milk that you used, let me think, the cows would have been fed on silage or hay, and there's less beta carotene, so the cheese probably won't go as yellow. If it's goat's milk, it's going to be white anyway, because it has a lot less beta carotene in it. If it was crumbled, it means it was too acidic. Maybe you need to wash the curds longer when you're through that washing phase of the Gouda. It's not from underpressing. Crumbly cheese is often due to the acidity being way too high. So it's probably what happened. Patricia says, I'm glad that you learned from your mistakes. I also learned from my mistakes, and I'm sure I could repeat them exactly. Yeah, that's true, Patricia, indeed. Because once you figure out what you did wrong, then you try and avoid it, that's for sure. But the good thing is, somebody told me the other day, who was it? I think it was Ruth, who's frequently on the chat, and I think she's having troubles with her account. That's probably why she hasn't turned up. But she said to me the other day that she was talking to her hubby and said that it's strange. Oh, strange? Oh, is it strange the word? It's unusual for people to put their mistakes up publicly. And I say, well, I'd rather that you guys and girls learn from my mistakes and not do it yourself than go through the process and make a mistake and wreck your cheese. So I'd rather you learn from me. Let me say, I'll be the crash test dummy of cheese making for you guys. How's that sound? Okay, moving along. Matt says, hey Gavin, have you considered making cheese bread? Oh, okay, it's that Finnish word. Finnish cheese bread. I have thought about it. I haven't done it. I do have a recipe for it. So I could probably make it. I'll put that on the list. Not meaning it's going to happen, but yeah. Good suggestion. Thank you, Matt. Jack says, I recently made fresh mozzarella, not from your kit sadly, but they were sold out. And I had a lot of fun with it. Thank you for introducing me to a new hobby that I really enjoyed. No problems at all, Jack. Appreciate it, mate. They're back in stock now, but that doesn't really help you. But yeah, that seems to work all right. Okay, my thing just refreshed. That's so great. All right, I found my spot. Jacqueline says, another question. I am a sourdough bread maker. Kept the kitchen clear of my baking whilst doing cheese, but I'm wondering how long to keep it clear while drying cheese. Hope my question makes sense. Yes, it does. It does make sense. Well, wild yeast can stay in the air, you know, for a long time. It lives on surfaces and stuff like that. But as your cheese is drying, it's probably safe. I know that yeast is a microorganism, so there's not much you can do about that. But I would say for the duration of the drying, which is only usually 2 or 3 days, if you're air drying cheese. So there we go. Gladys said, did I find a recipe for queso de mano? Hasn't been on the top of my priorities, unfortunately, Gladys, but I'll write it back down again. And just because Kim and I are in lockdown doesn't mean we're not working our butts off. So yeah, we haven't got around to it. I'm sorry, Gladys, I'm sorry. Fiorento, I think it's Fiorentino, says, in Italy we graft cheese. We graft cheese, but I've never seen this in Anglo-Saxon videos. How do you know I'm Anglo-Saxon? You use dry cultures. We sort of use bought cheeses and graft the cheese in the milk. I hope this makes sense, matey. No, doesn't make sense. I don't really understand what you're trying to say. Are you saying that you reuse bits of cheese and put them into the milk and then make more cheese? I've seen it done with blue cheeses, but not other sorts of cheeses. And if you're using raw milk, then it'd be easy anyway. Leon says, greetings from Kansas City. G'day, Leon. Scott says, made my first cheddar with raw milk the other day and my curds stayed on top the entire time. What did I do wrong? Followed all the way through and the cheese looks great, but am I in trouble? I've never seen that happen at all. Curds floated the entire time. Usually they tend to sink. Hopefully your milk's not contaminated. I have seen that. I've seen pictures of that happen. I haven't seen it myself, where the milk's been infected by it's a bacteria called coliform, and it tends to create gas within the cheese. So, and it usually happens within the first few hours, and then during pressing, you'll find that the cheese kind of looks like a sponge, and that is totally contaminated, and it should be thrown away. I don't know. I haven't experienced that personally myself. So, Gary says, I'm a Swiss cheese maker and I'm in the I formation stage. Oh, sorry, I'm a Swiss cheese maker. No, let's start again, shall we? Gary says, I'm making a Swiss cheese and I'm in the I formation stage. My book says 2 to 3 weeks at 70 to 74 degrees. Any recommendations for aging after wax or rind or vac pack? Okay, so what I tend to do for those styles of cheeses is, keep them at the 2 to 3 weeks at those temperatures, and then I'll wax the cheese. I won't vac pack it if I'm doing a Swiss style cheese, including Jarlsberg, which is it's a Swiss style cheese made in Norway but different. So yeah, don't vac pack, wax it. Wax won't compress the cheese. The wax will just hold the shape of the cheese, keep the molds off it, which is what you're after, and then put it down at 13 degrees, because the higher temperature creates more eyes, and basically, I've seen this happen on one of my own cheeses, is that the eyes just keep growing, and all you've got is a shell and a big hole in the middle. If you keep it at those higher temperatures, you really do need to put it back down to between 11 and 13 Celsius to make to stop the eyes from growing, basically. Manel says, my super chat. Thank you for your super chat, Manel. Oh, here's the words here. Can you explain the calculation, the ratio of the cheese and sodium citrate? Yep, I think I got that. Yep, good. Chuck says, have you considered making pesto cheese? It's really good. Greetings from Leiden in the Netherlands. Pesto cheese, Chuck. I think that's where cheese is made first and then it's milled and then mixed with pesto and then repressed. I have seen it. It does taste nice. So, yeah, cool. I won't be doing it. It's a form of processed cheese with real cheese, but I don't have the facilities to do it, I suppose. I suppose I could. I don't know. I'll put it on the list. How's that sound? Pesto cheese. Rightio. Next question. Thank you, mate. Michael says, all the way from London. G'day, Michael. All the way from London. John says, queso de mano looks interesting. A Venezuelan stretched mozzarella, stretched moz version of queso fresco and laid down in layers for a soft cheese onto an open tapper, half cheese, half meat. Interesting. But I'll have a look for that. Sugar Sheila says, love your channel. Thank you from Tennessee. Thank you, Sugar Sheila. And Stella says, thank you from California. Thank you, Stella. Hannah says, can you please do a cheese platter? A cheese platter. Video about a cheese platter? Yeah, sure, why not? Have to see if I've got enough cheeses in the fridge first. But cheese platters are fun. Charlie says, what's my favourite cheese? Oh, your least favourite cheese to make. I'm having a bit of trouble with stretched curd cheese at the moment, but somebody, and it was, let me just find out, I've got a letter and everything. This was from John in Canada. John sent me, where's the camera? There it is. Sent me a pH meter. This is I think you can readily pick these up on eBay or what have you. So a pH meter. Thank you, John. I really appreciate it, by the way. Sorry I haven't emailed back, but I've been flat out. But yeah, I'll be trying another stretch curd cheese using my new pH meter very, very soon. It's not an official cheese one. This one can be used for, I don't know, fish tanks and all sorts of stuff, but hopefully it'll work. Can't see why I wouldn't. Give it a go. But cottage cheese is my nemesis. I'll get my hands on some raw milk and maybe we'll make some cottage cheese. But anyway. Tyler says, g'day Gavin, I'm a teacher in the US. Before the coronavirus shut down our school, I had a group of seniors eat lunch in my room and we have a Gavin Weber Wednesday. Every week. We love your videos. Oh, Tyler, thanks, mate. Appreciate it. That's made by day. A Gavin Weber Wednesday. It was crazy. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Wolfhound 180 says, good evening, Gav. Can I store fresh made sherv for storage? Vacuum pack, maybe. Yeah, I have seen sherv stored in vacuum packed, fairly moist, so you'll have to put it on the moist setting of your vacuum packer. But yeah, it's certainly possible. You can do that. It'll store a lot longer because it won't grow any mould or anything like that. So yeah. John said, queso de mano is a cow and ewe's milk cheese. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Maybe difficult to get my hands on some of the ewe's milk. A Triller the Young says, you are cool as hell. Thanks. Appreciate it. Manel says, can I make American cheese with any curd if I failed the pH? Basically, yeah, you can, Manel. I've even heard, who told me? It was Ruth. Ruth Cohen said she made I can't remember. She made a cheese. I can't remember what it was, and it didn't quite work. Wooden press, all that sort of stuff. So it was early days for the cheese, and she added some sodium citrate, and it turned into quite a good American cheese. So I think, yeah, fairly any stage, as long as you got some curds that have been drained to their whey, then you could probably do that. Vanessa says, yes, the whey was really cloudy and it was unhomogenised milk, Farmer's Own brand. That's probably the reason. So a little bit more rennet next time, Vanessa. I think that was from an earlier question, so it's fine. Herb said, a tad late but better than not showing up. Indeed, thanks Herb. Hannah said, who is going to be sending the can blue? Who is going to be sending the can blue? Not sure which one about there, but Kim, if you want to put the can blue recipe up, that will be good. Where are we? Charlie says, I would like to try a combination of goat's milk and cow's milk, not raw, to make a hard cheese. What do you suggest? Let me think. A hard cheese. Okay. Try... let me think. Use the Romano recipe, Charlie. That's a hard cheese. If you're talking about a cheddar style cheese, then you could do a stir curd cheddar, no problems at all. So any of the stir curd cheddar videos that I've put up, they would work using half goat and half cow. Get a different flavour profile, of course, which is probably what you're after. So that'll work. But yeah, Romano for a really hard one. For a cheddar style, use the stir curd cheddar recipe. That'd be cool. Sadie says, can too much moisture cause bacteria lines to develop? My can blue was in a box but tasted wonderful. I think you're talking about brevibacterial linens to develop. Yeah, it can. If the cheese is too moist, you will get red mold growth if it's native to your environment. So that could happen. Yeah, so definitely it could happen. So it needs to be, not as high moisture in your cheese, in your ripening box next time. Nell Sack says, do you play Osu? Don't know what that is. By the way, I love your blue cheese vids. Thanks, mate. Herb says, here's a technical one. How is the curd set multiplier determined? Seems to be flocculation time where X, but what determines X? Good question, Herb. Don't know that one. The flocculation tables are written down. I've got to remember, where's my flocculation tables? I do have them somewhere. Let me have a look. Reddit strength explained. Here we are. Let's go to the second screen. Get rid of that. Here we go. So I don't know if you can see that, but here's the flocculation tables. This is from the Cheese Forum. What determines these factors? I don't know. Experience, I suppose, would be maybe a good one, but I really don't know. But these are the factors that you multiply once you hit the flocculation point. That amount of time you multiply by these factors to determine when you should cut your curds. I hope that it makes sense. How they were determined, I do not know. Anyway, that's cool. Now, what time is it? 8:43. We've got 15 minutes to go. Question from James says, my curds don't hold up well. Is it my store-bought milk? Probably. Calcium chloride will fix that if you haven't used it already. If you have, don't add too much more, but yeah, that's what it is. It's the quality of their milk. Try and get some pasteurised, unhomogenized, or cream line milk is the best you can get that's store-bought. Okay, Hannah says, thank you for the can blue recipe, I think you're saying, but thank you. And where else? I want to share a photo. Let's have a look. Let's get back to where we were. It's a photo. Hang on, let's go to screen one. Some lovely ladies sent me some pictures of them in my merch. So let's go to that. I wanted to show it. So there's a picture of Evie, who is sporting a lovely pink Gday Curd Nerd shirt and with her little puppuccino there. And she comes from the UK. So thank you, Evie. That's a very cool photo of you in your G'day Curd Nerd shirt. And then the next photo is Laurie sporting her Talk Curdy to Me t-shirt, which is also in the t-shirt range. Very cool. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Laurie and Evie, for modelling the T-shirts. Very cool. Thank you so much. So that was a little bit of fun there. So if you've got a bit of merch and you bought some from the merch store and you want to have a look, want to be displayed for the whole world to have a look, then yeah, take a photo. Very cool. Thank you, ladies. You looked lovely in in T-shirts. That's cool. Okay, so back to the questions. Patricia says, I can get buffalo milk, $10 a litre though. Oh my goodness, that's pretty expensive. I wonder if making mozzarella with half cow and half buffalo might be economical and unrubbery. Might be. Don't know. Can't tell at those prices. But yeah, look, you can only give it a try, Patricia. You can make a small batch and give it a go. Vanessa says, thank you. Persian feta is the bomb. I'm loving the Yarra Valley brand, cheese brand Persian feta. Yeah, I've tried that one too. That's very nice, Vanessa. Nicola says, search for flocculation method for a better curd. Yep, there's a table. Yep, indeed. That's what I just showed. John says, are you having runaway subs on the clock? I can't keep up with all the subs. What does it say? Hang on, I'll have to have a look. It's a bit blurry. 213,000. Yeah, look, John, I don't know if you're aware, but we had that meme thing going on Twitter, and then it went on to Reddit, and then it went everywhere. The meme about the Italians swearing at my my Parmesan cheese. So yeah, that was interesting. But yeah, I managed to gain about 45,000 subscribers over the course of about 2 weeks. So, but we're probably adding on about 1,000 subscribers a week, which is nice, steady growth. I think that's good, and I really appreciate anybody who's watching that's subbed for the first time this week. It's great to be here. Michael says, when doubling a recipe, does rennet double proportionately? Indeed it does. When making small batches, that is. So, which is what we kind of make. Kevin said, have I made reblochon? I tried once. It was a dismal failure. And I haven't tried it again, and I didn't video it. So I'll probably make it again. I'll put it on the list. So many cheeses. It is quite a specialty cheese, and takes a little bit of practice, I think. Gary says, g'day from Adelaide. G'day, Gary. George says, hi, Gavin. I made feta using Paul's organic unhomogenised milk and without lipase. We have stored it in brine. What can I expect? Some of the Paul's organic milk unhomogenised is actually ultra pasteurised. So if that worked and you got a curd set, and sounds like you have, and stored in brine, it should taste very nice. I've made goat's milk, and definitely I'll leave the lipase out because goat's milk has a higher concentration of lipase naturally in it anyway. I think you'll get a good cheese. Hopefully you made the brine okay and your cheese isn't dissolving in it, and yeah, just make sure that you add that calcium chloride and a little bit of vinegar into the brine to make sure it doesn't start that calcium ion exchange and goes all slimy on the outside. I learnt that the first time I made it. Anyway, that's cool. Sadie says, how's the promised Morbier video coming? Waiting patiently. All good things take time. I wanted to show from start to finish, so from all the way from the milk to the taste test. I might skip that because I haven't had a lot of content out lately, so I might just do the video, go to the first wash, and then we can do a affinage one later. So, but it worked out really well. The cheese, when it was pressed and all that sort of stuff, looks really nice. So I might do that with a Morbier, so I might fast track that one. And we can always do the taste test later like I used to. So let's do that, shall we? The Adventure Channel says, hi, I just finished watching the video of how to make Parmesan cheese. It was really good. Thanks. Thank you very much. Alrighty, Kim's not giving me the wrap up, is she? No? Okay, it's got a few minutes to go. Where we are. Hannah Ruth says, I'm in Toowoomba. That's nice, thank you, Hannah. Enjoy Toowoomba. Is it possible to make sweet cheese, like mixing in chocolate and sugar? I think it would actually taste good. Yeah, you can do that after the fact. I would not do it during the cheese making process because the sugar actually ferments, and you'll get all sorts of alcohol-y tastes, and it's not very good. So yeah, you can make the cheese and then you mill it, and then you mix the chocolate and the sugar in with it and then repress it. That's what they do. Jacqueline says, last, I promise, wax my farmhouse cheddar after drying. Do you need to wipe the surface of the cheese with brine before waxing? And oh, thank you, times 1 million. Take good care of yourselves. Thank you, Jacqueline. Appreciate it. To answer your question, after drying, no, you don't need to wipe it one more time with brine or anything like that. The temperature of the wax, so remember the wax should be between 75 and 90 degrees Celsius. From watching my wax video, hopefully you've seen that. And that will kill off any yeast or native wild flora that's on the outside of your cheese, and you won't get any mold growth underneath. So that'll work. Typical failure says make some Velveeta. I don't think so. Played Love says, what cheese process turned out to be the most unexpected for you? What cheese process? Most unexpected. Can't think of anything. You've got a recipe in front of you, you kind of know what's going on. So nothing unexpected happened. There's no secrets in cheese makes, no magical surprises. Fernando says, can I use another thing to replace the rennet? Unfortunately not. Where it says rennet, you need to use rennet. You can get rennet tablets which store longer than liquid rennet, but you definitely need rennet. You can't add like lemon juice or vinegar. You'll get a different sort of cheese, unfortunately. Carolina says, hi Gavin, I'm from Argentina. Sorry for my bad English. That's okay. My Spanish is terrible too. I love your channel and I have a few questions for you. How big do I have to cut the camembert cheese curd? And how long is curdling recommended? The camembert curds sometimes don't even get cut at all. They just get scooped into the moulds from the solid curd mass using a ladle or a skimmer. You can cut them into about 3-inch columns. I wouldn't cut them into cubes. And let them rest for about 10 minutes and then scoop them in. You get a little bit of firmer cheese. So yeah, large cubes. Okay, Wind Wolf Alpha says, g'day fellow curd nerds, g'day Gavin, and finally sunny Southern California. Nice to see you, mate. Gary says, what would have caused my Limburger cheese to look like it's semi-melted? Too much moisture in the cheese would have done it. Where else? Maddie says, is it possible and should I be worried about homemade cheeses form colostrum botulism? No, if your process is clean and all that and you store them at the recommended temperatures, then no, you won't have any issues whatsoever. If you use raw milk, there's a slight possibility, but pasteurized milk, you won't get that sort of issue happening. All Knowing Guitar says, if you do attempt finished cheese bread, colostrum or first milk is required to make a good cheese. Hard to do, seeing I haven't got my own cow, so that may be a bit difficult. Sadder, I think that's how you say it, Sadoher, says, hi Gavin, just wondering if there's an automatic stirrer so we don't have to stir it like constantly stir the milk we're making cheese. I have seen some automated stirrers, some work better than others. I prefer to stand there because it's relaxing. What do we got? 6 minutes to go. Let's see if there's any more questions there. Paddy says, I love your dulcet tones. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Let me see. There. Hello, dear Gavin. Thanks a lot for your effort. My cheddar cheese tastes sour. After day 6, I made it and put much starter and didn't press it well. Yep, that's probably what would happen. 6 days. I wouldn't eat it after 6 days. I would mature it. Hopefully you meant 6 months. 6 months and it's still tasting sour. You could leave it for another couple of months. That might work. But if you did put too much starter in and didn't press it enough, then yeah, there'd be too much whey in there, too much acid, and that's probably why it tastes sour. Herb says, steadily growing on subs. Congrats. Thanks, mate. Andrew says, g'day from South Africa. G'day, mate. Woohoo, that's what happens, Gav, when you don't sub out content. Don't sub out content? Yeah. Yep, make your own content. Like I do, that's good. Mike says, good morning, Mike. Don't try clear wax. It's easy to miss holes in the wax. Yes, it would be. And George says, what's the best milk for mozzarella? Buffalo milk, if you can get it, George. Cow's milk at a pinch, obviously. Patricia says, when you think you have time, would you consider amalgamating the Fontina videos? I see there are at least 3 and only saw 2 when I made my Fontina. Any other cheeses spread over 3 videos? I think I did. What did I amalgamated the triple pepper jack, which had a few videos. The cheddar had a few videos. Yeah, the Fontina, I could combine that. Be an easy task. Fontina, and just re-release that. Redo editing. Yeah, I can do that for you, Patricia. That'll be interesting for some people, I think. Drew says, can I just say for total newbie cheesemakers, you can easily make paneer during this lockdown? Indeed you can. Paneer is so simple. There's a recipe somewhere that Kim may put up, or may not. There's only 3 minutes to go. Herb says, consumer grade auto stirrers don't seem to turn the curds enough and usually confined to the bottom of the pot. Yeah, indeed they are. Mike says, just wondering if you have organic cheesecloth back in stock. I've ordered them, Mike. They're coming from New Zealand, so there may be an issue due to lockdown. So unfortunately, I can't get those here in Australia. I have to get them from a manufacturer in New Zealand. So sorry about that. They may take some time to get back. And Jordan says, good morning. Well, on that note, and it is the end of the show, thank you so much for turning up. Kevin says, how's book 2 come along? Not at the moment. It's kind of on hold, Kevin, but thank you for asking. Seeing we're at the end of the show, Kim hasn't started putting up the links, but I'll start anyway. If you want to purchase any kits or stuff, supplies, then you can get them. I'm just about to put a whole bunch more back online, back in stock, because I got a big order back in, and I'm going to process that this morning and put that back on our website. So all of the, well, not all of them, most of the cultures will be back in stock today, and a few other little tidbits. So go over to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Like I said before, unfortunately we're not shipping internationally at the moment, so you'll only be able to purchase within Australia, because so many parcels have been getting lost due to the lockdowns. If you want to make paneer, there's the link. Kim just put that up. If you're going to buy any merch, there's the merch shelf down below, and there's also a link down there as well, and Kim will put the link up in a second. And if you want to have a look at the podcast, there's a podcast channel. I don't know if many people know about it. Let me just put the link up to that. Here's the podcast channel, and it is still pumping out. Oh, it didn't do it. Stop it. Where's the podcast channel? Go back. Oh my God, the chips. Copy, not paste. Copy. Right, Gav, you get it right in a minute. Here we go. There's my podcast channel, and you'll see that soon we're up to episode 55. And there are lots of great ones. A lot of low views, though. I notice when I advertise each episode on the community tab, it gets more views. But it is just an audio file with me talking. But it's great to listen to whilst you're making your cheese. So there's a suggestion for those long stirring times. Have a listen to the podcast and listen to the podcast episodes. Anyway, if you want to support us, don't forget that you can hit the join button down below for YouTube memberships or go to Patreon. There's a Patreon link that Kim's put up there. Thanks for watching, Curd Nerds. Fingers crossed, if Kim's feeling okay, we'll have another show next Saturday morning, our time, which is Friday for most other people. But thank you so much for watching, and without your questions, there wouldn't be a show. I really appreciate you turning up week on week when we do have these live streams. All right, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.